25 years ago, there was a new challenge for our schools. Washington State created the levy lid so that every community in the state received the same amount of funding, regardless of the cost of living. Since then, the cost of basic education has continued to rise, while support from the state has not. On Mercer Island, a group of concerned citizens decided to do something about it.
You know, when we got started on this, there was the first PhoneAthon, and we sort of wondered how to do it. A brokerage firm loaned us their offices downtown in the Park Place building, and typical November, it was dark and rainy, and we went down to this office building, and row upon row upon row of cubicles, and called basically all of the parents of kids in the Mercer Island schools. And what we did is we had little bells on each of the volunteers' desks so that when we called and got a success, you'd ring a bell. And you could listen to the other cubicles, and their bells are ringing all of the other cubicles. So that gave you just a great sense of encouragement to make your own phone call. And then, of course, you got to ring the bell and be very successful. And we were very successful. 3/4 of the parents that we called contributed. And that was just a great start. We raised, I think it was $87,000 in that first PhoneAthon, and felt very, very successful.
In 25 years, the Mercer Island Schools Foundation has contributed over $8 million to Mercer Island schools.
One of the early issues when we were putting this all together was determining where do we spend the money? How do we even figure out where to spend the money? And one of the ideas fairly early on was, okay, fund the last thing that was cut out of the budget. In other words, turn to the pros, the school board, which is elected by the people, and the school district, the professionals, and find out what they thought were their highest priorities. And then we wanted to fund those items as long as they were reoccurring items that we could fund each year.
The Mercer Island Schools Foundation has made a tremendous impact on the quality of education in our schools. But over time, more and more of these funds have gone to support basic education. The fact is, without this critical support from the community, the school district would be forced to fund necessary educational classroom needs out of inadequate state and federal funding. That means fewer classroom teachers, bigger classes, and less individual attention to students. The constant calming force is the hard work and dedication of our classroom teachers. Through foundation support of the National Board Certification Program, we have found a way to recognize and compensate teachers.
It streamlines your professional development so that you're constantly focused on what's good for kids.
Now the work has begun for me. Achieving national certification to me doesn't mean I am a great teacher yet. It means now I'm that much closer to knowing what it means to be a great teacher.
One thing that really came across in the standards is that every child can succeed. When they come into this room, I can meet them there and can help them to grow, to know that they can succeed in my classroom.
National Board Certification is a program that was started to kind of streamline teachers and make sure that we were all using standards-based education, and that it was common language, common goals, common practices across the nation.
Part of it is done by videotaping classroom sessions, and then another one is demonstrating your work with family and with community and with colleagues.
4 lengthy portfolios, very specific lengths, very specific dimensions, everything is very standardized, and then 6 exams at the end.
It was grueling. It was, they say it takes about 300 hours to complete all the components, and I would say that that's an understatement. It's the most intense process, more so than my master's, more so than anything I've ever done.
Galloping. Yeah, I think what National Boards has done for me is to help me be much more intentional in my teaching. Teaching here at Crest, there's never a dull moment, and you know, I learn something from these students every day. For me, it's about helping them know that they are respected.
The main way that helped me to be a better teacher is it helped me to reflect on my teaching. So much of the process is analyzing what you're doing in the classroom and reflecting on why you made those choices and how it's helping my students and how it's helping them to learn. And through the process, I was able to see where I needed to grow.
One of my largest goals is to make sure that I make connections with the kids. The thing that National Board does is it keeps it in the forefront of your mind. You're constantly focused and driven on trying to meet that goal. So I think for me that was one thing. And the other thing was just giving me the confidence and the validity that what I do is sound, and is everything that you're doing effective? You know, is every minute you're in the classroom purposeful?
Our state is working hard on education reform, but the pace of change is very slow, and the cost of waiting is high.
I think it's imperative that we continue rolling up our sleeves and working on the foundation, because we need to maintain the level of education on Mercer Island, and if we can, improve it.